our little guy in it. This is our main trade node. We collect value here. We have a merchant in Kiev, which is the trade node to the right. And where else do we have a merchant? Do we only have one merchant being used? No, we have 2 units being used. Baltic Sea? Why are you in the Baltic Sea? You always want to look at this because you want to, as I said, you know where your home trade node is, Krakow, and you want to flow trade towards it, like Kiev.
Okay.
Kiev is making trade go to Krakow with the little arrows. Now we can either make Krakow, or I'm gonna send the guy from the Baltic Sea over here. So we're gonna send somebody into Crimea.
Okay.
We want to go back to the political mode, which if you look at your economic map, it should have a little flag on the little things next to you, next to the right, above the maps.
This one.
Yeah. And I'll give you back to the yeah.
Okay.
I don't know if you were originally in that.
I was. I just go.
Yeah, it's just back to our original. So trade is simple and complex at the same time. You just want trade to flow into your home node. So you might chain up merchants. You don't usually want to collect in your home node unless you are a very weak country. But this is our value in trade, our bonuses in trade. We'll get into this if you really want to learn how to maximize trade. In general, always take a mercantilism choice.
So I should promote mercantilism?
No, you never want to really click that button. As the game progresses, I think at the beginning of every month you might get a chance of an event, and if you get a chance from mercantilism, you usually want to take that, depending on how your country's doing. Your next tab is technology.
Mm-hmm.
Each of these this is where you are going to mostly spend your monarch points. You see the 0? That's our ahead of time bonus.
Okay.
We're currently not ahead of time. We can be behind in time, and we get a penalty for being ahead of time, a bonus for being behind in tech.
Okay. So you don't want to be ahead of time?
You generally never want to be ahead of time. The only time you want to consider that is for military, because those bonuses will immediately take effect, and most of the administrative and diplomatic are going to be in terms of your governments and your buildings. Administrative is governments and buildings. Diplomatic is your ship types and your trade stuff. So they don't usually have an immediate impact. So if we're at war, we might want to take military tech ahead of time.
Okay.
But we want to take these things the other ones, all 3 of them generally, when they don't have a malice to them. If you click the little book, that says right next to institution penalty. This is how tech flows in the world. Currently, most people are have feudalism in them.
Okay.
At a certain point after in 1450, a spot in Italy will get the Renaissance. Spot in Italy will get the Renaissance. If you don't have the Renaissance, you'll start to suffer a malice to technology, or a malice to the tech cost, to the cost to get new technology. You need a certain amount of your provinces, which is about 10% before you can embrace the next tech level. And when we embrace it, we're going to spend money. But each of these tabs is a different, will show you, if you hover over the date, will show you where and when it'll appear. It's always a random chance of something happening. So if we wanted to steal something, it would probably be trade in the 1600s to have a spot of trade appear in our world. All right, if you click if we want to go to the ideas. The ideas tab will tell you what our traditions give, and when we have this all completed, what else we'll get. We'll talk ideas after we get enough administrative tech to get an idea. But in general, three ideas will get us. We'll choose an idea group. You can click on the where it says unlock national ideas.
Yeah.
And look at what all the ideas and such in your spare time.
Okay.
But getting three of the little windows inside those things will get us one of these windows under Polish ideas. So if we complete 3 idea groups, we'll have this complete.
Okay.
But for now, it also shows you what tech level you have to be to get the idea. We're just going to go to missions and decisions, which is the next tab. If you don't know what you want to do in the game, this is basically the top ones, what things you can immediately do, and the bottom ones are, or current mission is what the AI gets these, and it just gives them a direction to go. So we have improve prestige, solidify papal relations, and conquer calm.
Yep. Where's calm?
You can press F on your keyboard and just put in that and click it. Calm's in the Teutonic Order.
Okay.
So improving our prestige basically means putting our prestige to a number. So the question mark next to each mission tells you what you need to do to get what's in the check mark. If you hover over the check mark, they'll tell you what you get when you complete it. So the question mark is what you need to complete. The little box is with the envelope with the check mark is what you get. So we'll get 100
Okay.
100 admin for completing for getting 50 prestige. You get prestige through events, but mostly through conquering other countries or fighting battles. Prestige is actually kind of hard to get if you're a small country. We're not a small country, but at the same time, it can be anywhere from like a few years to 100 years. So we don't really want to press that button. We can become good friends with the Pope because we're Catholic. The Renaissance, what was it? The Reformation hasn't begun yet, so we don't have to worry about that. But I think we want to click the button Conquer Calm, because that gives us a reason to go to war with the Teutonic Order.
So I should click that?
Yeah.
Okay.
Policies below it are a result of the ideas. If you complete 2 ideas, you get to be able to add a policy. So if you go back to ideas, click the unlock national ideas, and you hover over each of the names of the ideas. They'll tell you each of the policies. It's usually you take one so administrative ideas and military ideas will give you a policy. 2 administrative ideas will not give you a policy.
Okay.
All right. The next tab, stability, or under that are in the missions and decisions. There are things you can unlock if you can. They're similar to missions, but the question mark are conditions that have to exist eventually. The common enforce and form the Commonwealth are things we're going to look at. So we're always going to need at least, when you form a different country, you're always going to need at least administrative tech 10.
Okay.
Okay. So we are going to need either to form it. I think form is... Yeah, form is the peaceful version. Enforce is the more military version because you're going to conquer a lot more.
Okay.
But in order to form the Polish nation, we need to have Warsaw, which is in Mazovia.
Mm-hmm.
Danzig, which is in the Teutonic Order. Marienburg. I don't remember where Marienburg is. Are you Marienburg? You're Marienburg's in the Teutonic Order. And we must rule over Lithuania. And Mazovia must not exist. We're basically going to say, hey, we're going to conquer the Teutonic Order and we're going to become rulers of Lithuania. And then we're going to absorb Mazovia into our country. That's what basically this is going to mean for us.
Okay.
Each country can have these kind of options. Like Castile has the option to become Spain by either conquering or taking over Aragon. Also, you can see cancel mission. You can cycle through missions, but they have a yearly timer. So in 1 year, after you cancel a mission, it'll refresh your missions if you're able to take a mission. Okay. Next tab is stability and expansion. You can also see your war exhaustion, disasters, overextension, stability. War exhaustion, as I explained, is when during war this can take up. Usually it's sticking down because of peace. If something really bad's going to happen, these are the under disasters. Stability. Negatives are generally bad. Are always bad. Positives will always be good. So you want at least 0 or more, unless you really know what you're doing, and you can mess around with negative stability.
Okay.
Under that are states. We have 5 states. We can have almost 12 states. We'll get into that later when we actually have more than when we start conquering other people. Overextension. This is land that we have taken over but isn't technically ours legally. Expansion is basically colonialization, but we're not doing any of that right now. And rebels are things that are building up in our country.
Okay.
And then we have religion. The next tab tells you your country or your current state religion. Provinces in your country that aren't your religion or your national religion. Yeah. And your bonuses and your negatives to each of these things. Alright. And then military. Your basic units, their cost to build, yeah. If they have any bonuses, and then we have fire and shock. We'll get into that when we actually fight. And then we have the amount of units available, and a lot of these things are the numbers below it are for war, and then leaders. We don't have any leaders right now, but they're basically generals, so we can put into an army.
Okay.
Then we have the subject tab. Depending on the type of subject, they might have a different type of tab if you click on the name of the country.
Okay.
So vassals are basically people who are under our control that will pay us money and will fight in our wars. A march are people who don't pay us money on a monthly basis, but they fight in our wars and they get a bigger, and because they don't pay us, they get a bonus to military size.
Okay.
And then there's colonies, protectorates. I think they might still be in the game. Merchant companies, which is more like trade, which you'll see in like Africa and Asia. The Europeans taking advantage of that. That's the basic idea of that. And then we have, what is it? It's in Sweden. Oh, personal unions, which is something we're looking to accomplish with Lithuania. There's a major partner and a minor partner. I don't think they pay us, but we have we have a lot of access to stuff they have.
Okay.
All right, next tab is states. This is your own country's type thing. Loyalty, basically, if they're under 30, they start affecting revolt chants. You basically want to hover this between like 40 and 50. Was it under 40? Yeah, 40 and 50. I think it might be under 40 they become unruly. And then we have, so the next number is influence. This is how much the bonuses can scale based on their influence at 25, 50, and 75. And the next is how much they control, how many state percentage in terms of states that they control.
Okay.
If you click their interactions, you can look at what you can do with the country.
Okay.
I'm going to do a few things really quickly. You need to be... I think I need you.
Cool.
Basically, you spend their loyalty and sometimes get... what's that other thing? Spend loyalty, get influence. But in this case, I am spending their loyalty for more military, more monarch points.
Mm-hmm.
And then you have, okay, so under our flag, there's this little like hammer and a sword. This is your macro builder.
Okay.
Which will immediately, like, it between the tabs will go from land units, boats, cores. If you need to do something really fast and don't want to click other areas in this game, you can easily do it from there. The next thing under our big flag is great powers. We're not a great power right now. This will become important later. We want to... Let's see here. Issue an embargo on the Teutonic Order. And issue an embargo on Hungary. Alright, I think that's all I have time for today.
Okay. Me too.
Yeah. Alright, I'll see you later.
Alright. So I'll actually start playing tomorrow?
Yeah.
Or whenever we do this again?
Mm-hmm.
Okay. Alright. I'll talk to you later.
Alright.